you're going to suffer. Not because you're weak, not because you've failed, not because the universe has it out for you. You're going to suffer because you're human. Right now, you're trying to architect a life without pain, scrolling for the perfect strategy, searching for the hack that bypasses hurt, building walls around your comfort zone so thick that nothing can penetrate. But here's what you already know in the basement of your mind. It's not working. The suffering finds you anyway. In the job you hate but won't leave. In the relationship that's dying but you won't end. In the dreams you've buried so deep they've become fossils. You thought avoiding pain would save you. Instead, it's killing you slowly, one comfortable day at a time. Viktor Frankl saw this with crystalline clarity in the concentration camps of Auschwitz. Surrounded by the most extreme suffering imaginable, he discovered something that shattered every comfortable lie we tell ourselves about pain. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. He didn't find a way to escape suffering. He found something far more powerful. The choice between meaningful suffering and meaningless pain, between being crushed by circumstances or transformed by them, between dying as a victim or living as a creator of meaning. This isn't positive thinking. This isn't spiritual bypassing. This is the most brutal truth you'll ever face. You don't get to choose whether you suffer. You only get to choose what you suffer for. There are only two types of suffering in this world. The first is the suffering of avoidance. This is the slow burn of the unlived life, the chronic ache of potential dying inside you, the weight of carrying dreams you're too scared to pursue. You know this pain intimately. It's the anxiety that wakes you at 3 a.m., the depression that settles over Sunday evenings, the rage that flares when you see someone else living your abandoned dreams. This suffering produces nothing, creates nothing, means nothing. It's pure loss. Then there's the second type, the suffering of pursuit. This is the burn in your muscles as you build strength, the loneliness of leaving behind those who want you small, the fear that floods your system when you finally speak your truth. This suffering is different. It's productive. It builds. It transforms. Frankl called it meaningful suffering, pain that serves a purpose greater than comfort. But here's what most people can't accept. Both types hurt equally in the moment. The pain of staying small feels just as intense as the pain of growth. The agony of unexpressed potential matches the agony of transformation. You're going to hurt either way. So why are you choosing the suffering that leads nowhere? Modern society has sold you the most dangerous lie ever conceived. That comfort is the goal. That ease is the answer. That if you just optimize enough, hustle enough, manifest enough, you can build a life where suffering doesn't exist. Look around you. We have more comfort than any generation in history, more convenience, more entertainment, more ways to numb and distract and avoid, and we're more miserable than ever. Why? Because Frankl understood what we've forgotten. When a person can't find a deep sense of meaning, they distract themselves with pleasure. Every notification is a morphine drip. Every binge watch is an escape hatch. Every surface-level connection is a band-aid over the wound of meaninglessness. You're not avoiding suffering. You're just choosing the most pointless version of it. The suffering of comfort is the cruelest kind, because it promises relief but delivers emptiness. It whispers, just one more day, while years slip through your fingers. It sedates you so gently you don't realize you're dying until it's too late. The concentration camp prisoners who survived weren't the ones who found comfort. They were the ones who found meaning. Even in hell, especially in hell. Here's what Frankl discovered that changes everything. You are not a happiness-seeking machine. You are a meaning-making machine. Man's search for meaning is the primary motivation in his life. Not pleasure, not power, not even love. Meaning, and meaning, real meaning, is always born from suffering transformed. Think about it. Every story that moves you involves struggle. Every person you admire has scars. Every achievement worth having demanded sacrifice. We don't connect through our victories. We connect through our wounds, transformed into wisdom. But modern culture has tried to hack this system. It offers you fake meaning without real suffering. Likes instead of legacy. Consumption instead of creation. Distraction instead of direction. And you wonder why you feel so empty. You wonder why success feels hollow. You wonder why you have everything and feel nothing. It's because you've been trying to extract meaning without paying the price of meaningful suffering. That's not how the machine works. So what separates meaningful suffering from meaningless pain? 3 elements. Choice. Meaningful suffering is chosen, not imposed. It's the difference between being pushed off a cliff and jumping. Both involve falling. Only one involves power. When you choose your suffering, when you say, I accept this pain because it serves my purpose, you transform from victim to creator. Direction. Meaningful suffering moves towards something. It has a goal, a vision, a reason. The athlete's pain builds toward victory. The artist's struggle births creation. The parent's sacrifice nurtures life. Meaningless suffering just circles. Same pain, different day, no progress. Transformation. Meaningful suffering changes you. Each bout leaves you different, stronger, clearer, more yourself. Meaningless suffering just repeats. You have the same fights, hit the same walls, learn nothing. Frankl watched men in the camps exemplify all 3. They chose their response to unchosen circumstances. They directed their suffering toward maintaining dignity, helping others, surviving to bear witness. They transformed their pain into unbreakable meaning. In some ways, suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. Not because it stops hurting, because the hurt serves something greater than comfort. If you're recognizing the price you've been paying for a life without meaning, if you're ready to stop running from purposeful pain, subscribe. This channel is for those choosing transformation over comfort. Here's what no one tells you about finding your purpose. Purpose doesn't make life easier. It makes life harder. Purpose doesn't remove suffering. It intensifies it. Because now you care. Now you have something to lose. Now you feel the weight of what must be done. The purposeless person suffers from emptiness. the purposeful person suffers from responsibility. Both hurt, but only one builds. Frankl discovered this in the camps. Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how. Purpose doesn't anesthetize you to pain. It gives pain a job to do. It transforms suffering from your enemy into your teacher, your fuel, your forge. But here's the paradox. The moment you commit to meaningful suffering, something shifts. Not the amount of pain that might even increase, but your relationship to it transforms. You stop being its victim and become its student. You stop asking, why me? And start asking, what for? You stop trying to escape and start trying to extract every lesson, every gift, every transformation the suffering offers. This is the alchemy of purpose. It doesn't turn lead into gold. It reveals that the lead was always gold. But everything in modern life resists this truth. We live in a culture that worships comfort and fears depth, that medicates struggle instead of mining it for meaning, that treats suffering like a disease instead of a teacher. Look at the messages bombarding you. You deserve to be happy all the time. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Self-care means never being uncomfortable. These aren't just lies, they're poison. They're creating a generation of people who buckle at the first sign of difficulty, who abandon their path the moment it requires sacrifice, who choose meaningless comfort over meaningful struggle every single time, and then wonder why they're so miserable. Frankl would have seen through this immediately. A man who becomes conscious of the responsibility he bears toward a human being who affectionately waits for him, or to an unfinished work, will never be able to throw away his life. The cure for meaningless suffering isn't comfort. It's commitment to something, to someone, to some vision that demands you become more than you are. But that commitment will cost you. Everything meaningful does. Let me tell you exactly what choosing meaningful suffering will cost you. It will cost you your excuses. No more, I can't, because. No more, if only. No more hiding behind circumstances. When you accept that suffering is inevitable, victimhood becomes impossible. It will cost you your comfort, relationships. The people who bonded with you over shared complaints won't understand your transformation. They'll feel betrayed by your growth. They'll try to pull you back to the familiar misery. It will cost you your old identity, the one built on avoiding pain, the one that prioritized ease over meaning, the one that chose numbness over aliveness. That identity has to die for the new one to be born. And death, even psychological death, hurts. It will cost you the illusion of control, because when you commit to something meaningful, you submit to its demands. You can't control the outcome. You can only control your devotion. It will cost you your cynicism, that protective shell that keeps you from caring too much, from hoping too hard, from believing too deeply. Meaningful suffering requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is terrifying for those who've been hurt before. But here's what you get in exchange. When you choose meaningful suffering, the universe responds. Not with ease, with evidence that your choice matters. You get clarity. The fog of meaninglessness lifts. Decisions become obvious. Your path illuminates itself, not because it's easy, because it's necessary. You get strength, not the brittle strength of avoidance. The anti-fragile strength of one who's been tested and survived. Each chosen suffering makes you more capable of choosing the next. You get connection to others who've chosen their suffering wisely, to the depths of your own soul, to something greater than your small self. You get freedom, the paradoxical freedom of constraint. When you're committed to something meaningful, 1,000 meaningless options disappear. You're free from the tyranny of infinite choice. You get meaning, raw, undeniable, unshakable meaning, the kind that can sustain you through any darkness, the kind that transforms suffering from curse to calling. Frankl found this even in Auschwitz. The one thing you can't take away from me is the way I choose to respond to what you do to me. They could take everything else, but they couldn't take his choice to make meaning from hell. And if meaning can be found there, what's your excuse? So how do you begin? How do you shift from meaningless to meaningful suffering? Start by acknowledging what you're already suffering for, because you are suffering. The question is, for what? Are you suffering to maintain others' approval? To avoid difficult conversations? To preserve a comfort that's killing you? Name it. Own it. See it clearly. Then ask the brutal question: is this suffering producing anything of value? Is it moving you toward who you're meant to become? Is it serving something greater than your comfort? If not, you're already paying the price. You're just not getting anything for it. Choose one area where you'll trade meaningless for meaningful suffering. Maybe it's finally having that conversation you've been avoiding. The momentary pain serves the purpose of truth. Maybe it's starting that project you've been postponing. The struggle of creation serves the birth of something new. Maybe it's leaving that situation that's slowly draining your soul. The agony of change serves your becoming. Then, commit. Not to the suffering itself. That's masochism. Commit to what the suffering serves. To the relationship it could heal. To the work it could create. To the person it could help you become. Watch how the quality of your pain transforms. Same intensity, different meaning, entirely different outcome. If you're ready to stop suffering for nothing and start suffering for something, if you're prepared to transform your pain into purpose, subscribe. Join those who've chosen meaning over comfort. You will suffer either way. This isn't negotiable. It's not a punishment. It's the price of being conscious in an unconscious universe. But you get to choose. Will you suffer as a victim or as a creator? Will your pain be meaningless or transformative? Will you be broken by circumstances or forged by purpose? Frankl survived the unsurvivable by understanding this. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. The camps couldn't be changed, but his response could be chosen. Your circumstances might be unchangeable, but your relationship to them is infinitely flexible. You can't avoid suffering, but you can alchemize it. You can't escape pain, but you can give it a job to do. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control what you make it mean. This is your moment of choice, not between suffering and comfort. That's an illusion. Between suffering that leads nowhere and suffering that leads home. Between pain that diminishes you and pain that develops you. Between the slow death of avoidance and the difficult birth of becoming. Choose wisely. Choose consciously. Choose now, because you're already suffering. The only question is, what will you have to show for it? In the comments below, write, "I choose meaningful suffering," not as an affirmation, as a declaration of war against your own meaninglessness, as a commitment to stop wasting your pain, as a promise to make your struggles serve something greater than your comfort. The camps taught Frankl the ultimate truth. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. You can't choose whether you suffer, but you can choose whether it means something. Choose meaning, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that's when it matters most.